Hi, I'm Kelly Lamrock. I believe that elections should be about ideas, not image. I know you always see us on those posters or on flashy brochures, and I wanted to take some time to talk straight from the heart about what makes me want to run, what I think is so important in moving our community forward. I especially want to talk about the future of our education system. You know, I'm proud of the fact that over the last 4 years, New Brunswick has come from being last in Canada in literacy and last in education spending, and instead has seen the largest increase in literacy scores in our schools we've seen since testing began, and the largest 4-year increase in education funding in the last 20 years. We've made some good progress. Now our kids are finally having an education system that isn't at the bottom, but actually gives them the same opportunity that children everywhere in Canada have. And in the world they're going to face, a world where they're going to change jobs many times, where they're going to have to learn new skills constantly, that really matters. But I want to talk to you about a very special opportunity we have here on the north side. You know, some years ago, the Microsoft Corporation was choosing where to put their first innovation school. A school that wouldn't just be built according to the latest design with new technology, open learning spaces, hands-on learning designed by the top educational experts. Not just a school where great teachers would have the tools they need to turn lights on in kids' heads, but a school that would do teacher training for the whole region. A school that would do research into what works so that New Brunswick becomes a place where people all over Canada want to bring their kids, raise their family, and that way we can attract young professionals and give our kids the very best. Now we have that opportunity. It meant chasing the vice president of Microsoft all over the world to get it, but Microsoft chose to put their first Canadian innovation school here in Marysville and Devon. Not only that, but we're also talking about being the first province in Canada to have classrooms in every middle school and every high school where every single child has a laptop computer. I want to talk about why that's so important, why that matters to me as a dad, why I hope it matters to everybody. You see, the world is changing. Laptops aren't about learning technology, they're about how we teach kids to read and write, and more importantly, how to think and how to create. A classroom that has laptops means children don't have to sit still in a chair and just absorb facts. They can learn to read and write by reading and writing about things they love to learn about. They can follow their own passions and subjects that interest them. They learn how to do research, how to think independently, how to work in teams. Teachers aren't the sage on the stage just lecturing. Instead, they're the guide on the side, showing students not just how to soak up the knowledge we have, but how to think, research, create, and ultimately create their own knowledge. Now, here's why that's important. The world is changing so much. The idea that our generation grew up with, you could have one job from the time you left university till the day you retired, is over. We know now that the average person's going to change jobs up to 14 times in their life. Here's some other facts that I always found really compelling. Of the 10 jobs most recruited in Canada right now, 7 of them didn't exist 10 years ago. The average person will come across more information in a single issue of the Globe and Mail than the average person 100 years ago saw in their lifetime. That means if we're not teaching our kids to create their own knowledge, to think for themselves, then ultimately they're going to fall behind. Laptops give them the freedom to work independently and to follow their passions and strength. We've seen examples of it. At Devon Middle School, we won an international award. It was really cool. What they did is they took students who were struggling in writing, and they actually created their own characters, wrote stories for them. And artists helped them turn those into comic books. Here's the cool part, the artists were actually in Vancouver. They corresponded over the internet, but we found writing scores almost doubled at Devon, because instead of having to write about what they were told, kids could actually create and do things that made them want to write. We've seen as well in other classrooms, award-winning programs where students not only learn about other countries, but correspond and keep in touch with students in those countries. We've got schools in New Brunswick whose principals are winning awards because when students have a laptop, they simply design their own individual learning plan with every teacher guiding them through the subjects. That's the kind of stuff we can do with one-to-one laptops. And just think, the school that'll anchor it could be right here in Marysville and Devon. Now, this hasn't been a unanimous decision. When we first got the school here, we introduced a motion in the House to get the money for it. It passed because every Liberal voted for it, every Conservative voted against it. One of the Tory MLAs, Carl Urquhart, said, I think it's a good idea, but we can't afford it. David Alward said we should review the decision to see if we really have the money. Now, I know we all have to be fiscally responsible, But instead of asking if we can afford this, I'd ask, how can we afford to pass this up? We know the greatest determinant of whether our kids succeed is going to be the quality of our education system. And when we have good public schools, world-class public schools, that means that that little kid growing up on Doom Street has the same equality of opportunity as folks who live in the wealthiest neighborhood in town. That matters to me. When I know that my kid doesn't have to apologize for coming from a New Brunswick school, but people will know that we're one of the best and most creative, that matters. As a dad, I want my kids every single day being passionate about learning, thinking about what they want to think about, creating their own ideas and their own knowledge. I can't help but wonder sometimes that if my conservative opponent lived here in our community and knew what parents here wanted instead of living over in Waterloo Row, she'd understand how important this is, how much pride there is in having a world-class school right here in Marysville and Devon. And one big reason I decided to run again is I don't think we can afford to pass this opportunity up. I want an education system where every single child gets up anxious to learn, where the strengths and diverse abilities of every single child are celebrated, where whether kids are interested in art or in music or in hands-on learning through the trades, they can do what they love to do and be celebrated for their strengths, not simply taken down by what they don't know how to do. That's the kind of classroom I want right here in Marysville and Devon. So look, thanks for listening to me, and I hope that you'll decide that this school is worth fighting for. My name's Kelly Lamrock, and that's why I'm running.